Hi, it's me, Terry again. I promised I'd come back and talk about um, spasticity and tremors. So let's have a discussion. Let me first of all give you a little bit of a health warning. I am not a doctor, so basically what I say to you are my views, and of course it's my story, things that have happened to me, but things that I've found useful. Um, Please make sure that you speak to either your MS nurse, your neurologist, or your GP if you're having any problems about spasticity. But I'll give you my view for what it's worth, and I hope you find it useful and that it gives you some food for thought. So, okay, let's talk about it. First thing in the morning is the worst time for me. That's normally because I've been spending the whole night laying out flat, like you normally do. Um, if you find first thing in the morning you're what I call locked in, it's where your legs or arms just really won't move. That's a really good time to start off with some gentle bending or physio. If you've got someone who can help bend your legs or bend your arms in the morning, just to give them a chance to get used to moving again. When I lie down, I can hear my legs starting to creak a little when someone bends them up. So I do about 10 repeats on each leg and then flex my arms and my fingers in order to just give them a chance to move. And then, of course, I sit up in bed. You might find that you might need to get one of those bed risers that help you go from level position to sitting up in bed, or a bed that allows you to, I think it's called a profiling bed, that allows your legs or arms to be raised or to, it's like a hospital bed, but if you're frightened by that concept or thought, they're a lot better than a typical hospital bed, and they really do help. I've recently had one at home, and it's been of great use to me in terms of helping me just to move around a little bit and to just try and get myself going. I kind of relate it to starting a car in the morning. If you just start the car and drive off on a very icy morning, your windscreen will be blocked, the car won't be warm, and you might find that it's not the most comfortable of situations or experiences. You've got to clean the windscreen. It's nice to get the car a little bit warm. Hey, make sure you do that whilst you're in the car. I'd hate for anybody to be thinking about this and to leave their car running and have it stolen off their drive. But anyway, getting back to where I was. So the reason why I do the exercises is because it's my warm-up first thing in the morning. There are some really important things that I do, and that's to make sure that my skin is moisturised. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it helps if your skin is kept well, because it'll allow you to flex and move your arms during the course of the day without too much problem. It's also important that you look at the drugs that you're taking. There are drugs that are available for spasticity, and I'm not going to mention the illegal drug that has been spoken a lot about as helping with spasticity and tremors. You can Google that and find out about it if you want, but certainly I use something called a MediPen, which it's kind of like an inhaler. It has the cannabinoids in that don't make you high, and it's perfectly legal to use. You might find it useful for you in terms of helping with pain and spasticity. You might not. They cost about £50 in the UK, and mine I found very useful just to help me. It helps just take some of the pain out of my arms and my legs. So you might want to try that as well. I was also going to say, and it comes back to what I've said a lot previously, if your head is not in the right place, then it can trigger off a lot of other symptoms. And when I say your head is not in the right place, I'm talking about mentally. It's really important that you try and manage your mental health, because but by managing that, a lot of the other symptoms that I'll be talking about over the next few weeks, months and years, you can manage in a much better way if you can manage your mental health. Okay, so that's spasticity. I think that's all that I need to say about that. Oh yes, I was going to talk about physiotherapy. You might find there's a local group that you can go to with the MS Society or the MS Trust, or some other charity that may well put on free physiotherapy sessions. I think the only thing I would say from my point of view is that, and it might just be me, I felt really uncomfortable about exposing myself to lots of people who had other neurological conditions, as well as all MS. It takes a while to get to that point. I can remember the first time I was in a room with lots of people who had MS and other neurological conditions. I left there feeling as low could be. I felt as though I was looking into the future, and I thought that I was seeing all of the things that would be happening to me in later life, and it frankly scared the pants out of me, and I never went anywhere near there for about 5 years. So you need to be happy and at a point where you've accepted your condition, and that you're comfortable being around other people who might have that condition or other neurological conditions. So just be aware of that if you're going to engage with going to physiotherapy groups. My big bugbear, for want of another phrase, with physiotherapy in the UK on the National Health Service is that when you go to see the physiotherapist, you kind of put into a group. You're either in rehabilitation or maintenance. Now, rehabilitation is for people who've had or have a condition, and that by doing physiotherapy, there is a likelihood that there will be an improvement in their condition. Maintenance physiotherapy, I was told, isn't available on the NHS, and maintenance physiotherapy is about trying to maintain the function that you've got. It's barking. Don't ask me why. Maybe in your NHS trust they take a different view, but in mine, in the northeast of England, I can't get free NHS physiotherapy because they won't allow me to have maintenance physiotherapy. They say that that's not what the NHS is there for. Completely barking, but there you go. Enough of that. What else was I going to say? Let's talk about tremors. Tremors are, it's when your body just kind of ticks out, keeps repeating. It could be your leg, it could be your arm. When it happens to me, it's normally after I've stretched or changed my position. Normally happens when I'm tired, or if I'm exposed to a change in temperature. So if I go from somewhere very warm to cold, I can have a tremor almost immediately. And that takes a little while to calm down. It can last anywhere between 5 seconds and 30 seconds. Mine are pretty painful, and the only way I can generally get them to stop is to rub predominantly my leg or my thigh until it stops or calms down, or to change the position of my leg. The tremors are incredibly frightening, and they're also very worrying because, and this isn't to denigrate other neurological conditions, but you almost feel as though you've got Parkinson's, because you have this uncontrollable shake that's going on, and that can make you feel really bad when you're in public. It can make you feel nervous. It can make you feel that you don't want to be around people because you don't want to have that kind of shake or tremor when you're out and about. So when I get the tremors, they tend to come on, as I say, when I'm very tired or when I have this change in temperature. I've worked out that anything below about 11 degrees centigrade and above 24 degrees centigrade, I become more susceptible to tremors. You should try and find what your tremor point is and also your spasticity point, because a lot of the time the spasticity and tremors are triggered by a change in temperature. Even if you do exercise, if you do too much exercise, that can cause a tremor or it can cause spasticity. Just on exercise, I've got a device that goes on the floor. It's kind of like a floor bicycle. You strap your feet in it and it just goes around and round, and I use that as often as I can, and that tends to help reduce spasticity. It also helps to reduce the pain, and it helps to reduce the swelling in my feet, because if you don't move your feet often, you can get build-up of fluids, as normally would happen. So you've got to keep your legs moving. So I suppose in conclusion, what I would say is, one, make sure you think about doing exercise, and that you do exercise, but that you stay within your limits. So don't do too much, don't flog yourself to the point of exhaustion. Think about temperatures. Make sure that your house isn't too cold and isn't too warm. Think about your bed sheets. Make sure that you've got bed sheets that you can throw off or pull onto you if you get too hot or too cold. Make sure you talk to your GP. If you are concerned that your spasticity is increasing, make sure that you discuss that with your GP, just the same as if you're having more tremors, because it could be down to the medication, and you could be advised to change the medication that you're on. There was one thing about medication that I didn't mention earlier on, and that's Botox injections. I get those. They help with the spasticity in my legs and in my arm. They're just like, the typical Botox injection that you'd have for your forehead to get rid of your wrinkles. You'll be surprised, I don't have very many. But no, they don't stick it in my head. They stick it in my arm, in my bicep, and in my leg, in my calf. I get that done every 3 months. It's not painful, but you might want to ask about Botox injections as well. Is there anything else that I need to say about tremors? No, I don't think so. What I would ask is, if you found what I've said interesting, please like me, like the site, and you can subscribe. That would be really good. You can follow me at The Job Magician online, and if you've got any questions or comments or feedback, please post it online to me. I will look at it and I will respond to you. And thanks for listening and watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care, God bless, look after yourself. Bye-bye.